American citizens are being asked to make a decision about a subject that has been presented to them out of context. In other words, the information that is being presented is distorted, inaccurate, incomplete, and intentionally misleading. When we lack context, we cannot gain a proper perspective. I define perspective as how one sees, views, understands, organizes, and responds to life, especially when under pressure. Now, when we aren't given context and we lack perspective, we can find ourselves making a decision and a choice that is inconsistent with our worldview, beliefs, and character. How many times have you said, if I had known that, I would have done X, or I would not have done X? When we don't have context, we will lack perspective. That makes us susceptible to deception and manipulation. In other words, it becomes virtually impossible to arrive at a sound decision so that a good choice can be made, because some choices are better than others. An example of out of context is the over 800,000 COVID deaths. That figure is always presented without context by the mainstream media. For instance, we are never explained the difference between causation and association as defined by the CDC and the WHO. No matter what someone died from, if they tested positive, it was marked and marketed as a COVID death. In other words, the death numbers are vastly overinflated. Even Fauci himself has admitted that. Now, as an aside, how many of those were false positives to even begin with? Because we know that the testing procedure is fraudulent. So it's inaccuracies upon inaccuracies, piled on top of deception, undergirded by duplicity. Yet, those death numbers are being used to inform people's decisions. People are making life-altering decisions based on that information. So, based on a distorted and misleading narrative, allegedly, some of us have had to walk away from our profession and career. Some of us have had to take an experimental drug that we otherwise would not have, all because of the pressure being exerted. My job is to provide context so that people can gain a perspective in order that they can make a sound decision which leads to a good choice. Like Tina told Ike, I'm just trying to help, part 2.